When we started the custom curve window, we started by using the curve command to make custom curves, and then took that source code from the script editor and dragged it down into our new script. This is going to be similar. I am going to make a couple of shapes, and then I will open my connection editor. Let me take this box. I will reload it on the left, the arrow, reload on the right, rotate to rotate, and that gives me this connect attribute line right here. I also get this result line, but I can see that it's commented out. I don't need that. I'm just going to take the connect attribute line and drag it down here. Now this is great. One line of script. That's all I need, and that will cancel out this entire window. I will never need it again. So I will go ahead and close that. I'll delete these two shapes too. So one line of script. This is great. All I have to do with this one line of script is take a look at it. I'll read across and I'll see that the command I'm using is connect attribute, and then I've got this F flag that I could look up if I needed to. Then here's the name of the first object I had selected. Dot rotate, that's its attribute. Then the name of the second object I had selected. Dot rotate, semicolon. So easy peasy. The only thing I need to do to this script is I need to be able to replace this box curve and this 4-arrow curve with something else. I need to be able to replace it with a variable. And that brings us into a discussion of variables. So I'll go back to the beginning of this line and just hit my enter key a few times to give myself some space. And then maybe up here, I will write my first variable. There are many types of variables. If you've coded before, you're probably familiar with them. My intention is to cover them as we need. So the variable that I'm going to make is going to be a string variable. And a string variable is anything text-based. The string variable that I want to do is going to replace this box curve. You can see that that is text-based. Those are all letter characters. And the same thing here, those are all letter characters too. What I'd like to do is I'd like to have this string variable access a selection. So I'm going to give my variable a name. We'll say string my selection. It's really important to be specific with variable names. They've always got to begin with a $sign, and then they are case sensitive, so make sure that any spelling you've got you're very particular with. You might even want to take this and copy it so you've got it on your clipboard and you can paste it in whenever you need it. The mySelection variable is going to be equal to a list of my selected objects. So I need to know the list command, and this is another one that I'm just going to give you. The list command is ls, and to access a list of my selected objects, I'm going to use the flag sl. So at this point, what I've said is, Maya, in your head, make a list of all the objects in my selection and call that list string myCell. That's the most basic thing I can do here. This is great. It's not grammatically correct, however. What I'd like to do is just make a little comment here and say this is a string variable listing the objects in my selection. So there are a couple of things that make this grammatically incorrect. The first one that you've probably noticed is that there's no semicolon at the end, so I'll put in a semicolon. The second thing, and this is another new concept for you that goes along with the concept of a variable. A variable can only hold one thing in its head. So this variable is only going to be able to list one object. And that's no good. We need to be able to list multiple objects. In order to do that, I have to turn this variable into a matrix. And to do that, it's really simple. I just need to put in square brackets, an open and a close. And now the string of my selection can list as many objects as I need. The other thing that I have to do is I have to tell this list command with its flag that it's part of the variable. And to do that, I'm going to use the key above your tab key. It's this mark right here. It's called a backtick. And the backtick helps commands like this stay together when they're being used inside of variables. There are a number of times when I'll be using this kind of backtick mark, and I know you're looking at it and you're thinking, that is a single quotation, what are you talking about? This is a single quote, that is a backtick. And believe it or not, they have different functions. So remember, I'm not using a single quote. That's a single quote, it's kind of straight up and down and a little bigger at the top. This is a backtick. It's slightly angled and it's a little bit smaller. The backtick on my keyboard, it's the key above the tab key. It's right next to the 1 key. It's got the tilde across the top, so if I shifted, it would be a tilde. But I'm not shifting, it's a backtick. All right, so that is my variable command. It is string variable, my selection, which holds a number of objects. It's equal to a list of all the objects in my selection. Great. That was pretty wordy, but it got us all the way through the string variable, the matrix idea, and the list of selected objects with the semicolon. We also had a brief discussion of the backtick. I will pause this here. In my next video, I will use my variable to replace the box curve and the 4-arrow curve.